Today I fucked up by being a hoe. I'm 32 female, not particularly rigid when it comes to dating age ranges. I cast a wide net, and if a guy is a few years younger or older I don't really mind. And by a few I mean like give or take 10 years. So over the past couple months I've gone on a few dates with different guys, and I'll just say it, I hook up with different guys. I am not ashamed to say it. Anyway, I hooked up with this younger guy who is 24 and another who is like 45. The 45-year-old was kind of one night stand who I kind of string along, but the 24-year-old is more like a regular thing already. Neither is really embarrassingly out of my own age range for casual dating. The 24-year-old is like a boy toy, not gonna lie. He doesn't really say much interesting, but we hooked up a handful of times already and he's into public sex, which I'm into as well. So 24-year-old invited me to an open house for a really fancy brand new apartment he said he was going to be working it. He's an agent. And we sexted about what we were gonna do, etc. I get to the open house wearing some sexy lingerie under my jacket that was supposed to get ripped off, and as I walk in, my 24-year-old boy toy is standing there with the 45-year-old who I also hooked up with. So I'm like, oh fuck, I guess, let me just. Oh, you've got to be kidding me, comes out of the mouth of the 45-year-old. Oh hey, what's up, are you an agent? Boy toy is like, hey, you two know each other? 45-year-old is like, we have met, yeah. Oh, we met at the gym, I tell the boy toy. Then old guy is like, now I know why you haven't been able to meet up, cringe. Apparently boy toy was talking about me to his coworker and told him that we were going to hook up in the master bedroom because apparently they are work bros despite being 20 years apart. Fuck. Didn't wind up hooking up in the master bedroom. Mood got killed and I did a walk of shame out of there. Boy toy texted me after and asked what was up. I had to come clean and tell him I hooked up with his coworker and just needed him to know. He was like, okay, well, we're just casual anyway, and he went back to sexting and asked what gym, lol. There was no gym. TL. Dr. Two guys I hook up with work together and I came across as a hoe to them both. Edit. The puzzle of my life being assembled in the comments has me laughing my ass off when it's literally in the title. So I totally thought the story was leading to them being father and son, so this isn't as awkward as I was expecting, tears of joy rolling on the floor laughing. I'd say the only fuck up is stringing the 45-yo along, because that's kind of a shitty thing to do to someone. Other than that, you didn't do anything wrong. Just dumb luck. And it doesn't sound like it messed things up with the boy toy, so no harm there. I'm not American, so please confirm. Date does not equal sex, hookup equals sex. The 45-year-old was kind of one night stand who I kind of string along. You should have no shame for hooking up with coworkers. No one should be stringing another person along at any age. But at 32 you are quite insensitive and self-centered to do so. Missed opportunity. Imagine being 45, in the dating game and still getting strung along by some woman that you find out is banging your 24-yo coworker at their places of business. I hope homie does therapy instead of becoming an asshole. Faux show. Seems casual or not, op has a type. I can't shake the intrusive thought that if you reversed the genders a lot of this would read much sleazier and possibly sinister. The age ranges, casually stringing one along, etc. I know it's a classic Reddit moment to point it out. Otherwise well written and entertaining. Today I fucked up by setting myself on fire and revealing my naked body to my boyfriend's parents. So this happened at around 7 a.m. today. I live with my boyfriend, M24, his parents and siblings. I, F25, woke up with my boyfriend when his alarm went off, popped on his dressing gown with nothing underneath and went to cook him eggy bread as I like him to be full for the workday. It's probably good to note that his dressing gown is a 2XL and I am a size S, M. The cooking is going fine, but the sleeves are quite baggy and long. I've cooked in it plenty of times and had no issues. My sleeve got too close to the flame on the hob and I notice the sleeve is slightly on fire at the end. I pat it out and keep quiet. My boyfriend is in next room along with his mum and I don't like to make a fuss if it's no biggie and I've fixed the situation. I look down again and see a small flame on my elbow, so again, I pat it out and proceed. All of a sudden I feel this sensation of heat on my back and at this point I realize I'm on fire and this is now big enough for me to make a fuss. I run to the next room screaming I'm on fire and just push my back onto the wall to try and suffocate the flame, but I can tell from my boyfriend and his mum's scream that the flame is bigger than I thought. Their view was that I ran in with my whole arm in flames that quickly spread to my whole front, which I was completely unaware of. As they screamed so much I just ripped the dressing gown off as it was super loose anyway, threw it to the floor, stood there completely naked to double-check that suffocated all the flames and shouted, "Sorry," as I ran back to my room to have a panic attack. I need to have a bit of a trim as some of my hair got singed. Went to minor injuries and they were amazed I had absolutely no blistering or anything wrong at all. I can only imagine how bad the flame must have been on my back as I didn't feel a single other flame on me. Thankfully not too bad to walk away completely unscathed. When I was stood there naked I did also see my boyfriend's dad run in, but all he must have seen was me naked looking at my dressing gown, which I'd argue was the most embarrassing moment, as he then ran away. My boyfriend then ate his eggy bread as he didn't want me to be offended or upset if he didn't eat it. I wouldn't have been, and work gave him the day off as a mental health day. What makes it worse is that a month before, his sister, F21, set something on fire in the microwave, which I swiftly sorted out, and we joke about that, and now I'm much worse having set myself on fire. Too long did not read. My sleeve caught fire while cooking, felt a hot sensation on my back, ran to my boyfriend and his mum, they screamed. I ripped my dressing gown off leaving me completely naked and ran to my room once I was confident the fire was gone. Nobody gives a shit if you're naked in a life or death situation. Being a fireman, I am glad you are okay. Have seen some bad things come out of these situations. Being naked in front of anyone is nothing compared to it could have been. The way you describe making eggy bread for your boyfriend makes it sound like he's 12 lol. That's a hot story, thanks for sharing. Why isn't this post blowing up already? I laughed way too hard, sorry. Glad you're okay. OMG, I have a little badge next to my name now. So nobody else is infuriated reading this? Your sleeve caught on fire and then your elbow. Why did you keep cooking? Tears of joy. Every single time I hear about someone catching themselves on fire, they run. Am I the only person alive who learned stop, drop, and roll as a small child? Glad you're all right. I've always wondered if I'd remember to stop, drop and roll in an emergency. I'm guessing it was a natural fabric and not something plastic that could melt. If not, you're super lucky. If so, this is a good argument for upgrading. Today I fucked up by not telling my husband about a lottery I won years ago. Throwaway account because some of my friends, family know my real one. The lottery winning took place back in August 2014. Mike and I were married in October 2014. It wasn't a fortune, but enough to make a difference. After taxes it came out to right around $480,000. Most people would be over the moon, but I panicked. I didn't want our life to turn upside down because we had extra money now. I was still legally single at the time, and so I was able to accept it anonymously without the need to tell anyone else. So I didn't tell anyone else, not a single soul. Not my husband, my parents, siblings, best friends, etc. Only the state and federal governments. My husband has a tendency to spend on things we don't need and that aren't going to benefit us in the long run, so I didn't want our money to blown quickly on stupid stuff like cars and clothes. I opened a new bank account with a national credit union and put the check in. Got started with a financial advisor, Keith, who guided me into investing in local businesses and real estate. And that's that. It's been sitting there since, just growing. Flash forward to today. I'm doing dishes, getting ready to start making dinner, and my phone rings. I can't get to it but figure I'll call them back. Then I get a text. No big deal. I'll get to it in a minute. But husband came into the kitchen and glanced at my phone to let me know who texted me and called me, which he always does if my hands are full. It's Keith. He called and texted me to let me know my account just hit $1 million after one of the energy companies I invested in soared recently. My husband is stunned. Has no clue what to even say, staring at me until he says, "We have $1 million?" I was so flushed but finally just sat him down and explained the situation. He's clearly mad at me for never telling him. Asks if my family knows, and I tell him that no one knows except the IRS and Keith. It took him a few hours to finally be able to really talk to me. At the end of the silence he told me he's proud of me for investing into our future, but he needs a few days to clear his head because he feels like I hid a huge part of myself from him. We might just need to take a vacation now. Too long did not read. I won a lottery in 2014 and never told my husband until he learned that I grew the money to $1 million today. Edit. I already have people messaging me asking if they can have money. Jesus. This is why I didn't tell anyone. Update. My husband and I just spoke on the phone for about an hour. He told me he's staying with his best friend, coworker tonight, but that he's not angry. He agreed he would have spent the money on dumb things if he'd won it and is happy that I put it away. Little less happy that I didn't tell him about it for so long, but he said he doesn't care and doesn't want this getting in the way of our marriage. I'd be pissed, but not that pissed. Hubby is gonna be able to milk that cow all the way to a new truck. It wasn't a fortune. It came out to right around $480,000, cries below the poverty line. I'd be more concerned as to why it took Keith so long to double your money. I'd let Keith know what happened and get a new Keith. That's exactly the reason they shouldn't send unnecessary messages. An email would do, or a call back later. I would be incredibly upset with Keith after blowing my secret after so long of keeping it and being successful with it. What a dick. Can you please put the DMs asking for money on blast? I'm just really curious on what their approach is to convince you to give them money. Did you tell him not to tell his friend? Your family? You had good reason not to tell people. Can his best friend, county worker, be trusted to keep a secret? I doubt it. It's too good of a secret not to gossip about. His whole office will know tomorrow. Plus Keith is probably taking 2% a year in fees. Investing in a 5% dividend company would double your money in like 12 years or something. No fees. You should talk to a therapist with your husband. He says he needs a few days, but this is something you should get ahead of now because it won't be just a couple of days. He might be happy on one aspect, but the trust has been shaken.